It is week 8 of PFR on Lakeshore PBS tonight. Oh, it's getting close to that time of year.
Oh, it is. It's getting close. You can feel the weather change. Oh, this is football season now.
The matchups are big. Conference titles or shares on the line tomorrow night, and it's getting to be close to single elimination, at least for conference trophies. It is.
That's for sure. Boy, if you haven't been out to a game, this is the time to go out and support your team.
Some beautiful weather expected. All right, we'll have the preview as we look up the matchups coming up tonight on Lakeshore PBS.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit nipsco.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?
All righty, we are back. PFR on Lakeshore PBS, week 8 of the high school football season, and we are getting ready to look at the week 7 big plays, Wayne.
Yep, and we've had a number of them. It was a good week 7, solid football played, and as always, a couple teams that surprised
There
us.
must have been a lot of good ones because it's an extended version of our week 7 PFR Rewind. Boy,
Excellent.
Great catch by City there.
Oh, wow. Excellent highlights.
All right, let's look back at week 7 players of the week. We start, as we always do, with offense.
Boy, Michael McAuliffe has really started to turn it on for Michigan City.
He had a little chip on his shoulder, from what I hear.
Oh, yeah, sure. There's no doubt about it. He doesn't think he's getting the respect from us here. But he's been on the board quite often this last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns versus Portage. And Drayson Nespo, boy, has he stepped up
Yeah.
for LaPorte. That is LaPorte, my fault.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
Laporte in the
yeah.
game against Crown Point,
Right.
but it wasn't enough for the victory.
Right, it
Fred
was.
Winston,
Yes, from Griffith, 4 touchdowns, and Jager Gill had 3 for Lowell.
and that potential Griffith-Lowell matchup, Wayne, with the draw out Sunday, it looks like it would be in the sectional championship.
Yes, it does. And boy, that's going to be a good one. That's going to be defense against offense.
All right, let's check out some defensive players of the week.
Hey, Michigan City's defense held Portage to 66 total yards. You know, that's outstanding. Obviously, Portage threw the ball a little bit, but boy, they stopped Maceo.
You know, I think Jordan Justovich, not only defensive player of the week, but from what I was hearing, he was carrying the radio show here
Oh,
on 89.1
gosh.
FM. I think the folks might want him to be a staple the last half hour.
I would. I'll tell you, this young man is very eloquent. He did a nice job
you
on
and
the
Tommy
radio.
better watch who you have on.
I told him on the radio, I says, you know, I know your dad. I coached Lake
Yeah.
Central against him, and he goes, yeah, he was pretty good.
he was above average. Player. Yeah.
Zach Holmes for Valparaiso with 1 interception and 1 forced fumble, and Jacob Tuttle for Andrean, 2 interceptions versus Munster.
Oh, big night for Jake Tuttle, and nice job. And Zach Holmes, that Valpo defense, getting some props. They played very well all
Very
year.
well.
How about the special teams players of the week?
Brant Wilder from Chesterton blocked a punt for a TD against Lake Central, and Sam Frand from Lake Central had a 31-yard field goal.
Chesterton is always blocking punts. They have had tremendous special teams throughout their recent history. Gaddafi Coleman with a big punt return.
Yep, he can do it all. Defense, offense, he is just a man. And Andrew Karsten from South Central, 31-yard field goal versus Griffith.
And of course, the most coveted award is the Unknown Player of the Week in high school football. Andrew Zimmerman had a big night throwing the football.
He really did. And some people would say, you know, he's not unknown. You know, people know. Yeah, but he's not got the recognition. This time he had 170 yards and 3 TDs against Lake Central and really controlled their offense.
Cassius Waite,
Yes, from Morton, had a 70-yard interception versus Hammond.
and Eric Johnson.
Yep, Morton's quarterback, 3 TDs, 112 yards. Now they are all known.
All right, the world turns in Thursday night because they have to know where they are at in the poll. We start first with the Little Five, and then the only poll that really matters. The Veld.
Veld stays, they won this last week.
Yeah.
A nice job by them. They beat a good team, and so Shortridge
They're
of
playing awfully
Indianapolis.
well. After that loss to Westside, they've
Yeah.
really improved. Whiting at 5-2, speaking of getting better.
They've turned it around, gotten a lot better. Boone Grove, 4-3, won last week.
You will see a lot of Whiting Jackets out tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah.
Different games because their game was canceled, unfortunately,
Yes.
with Bishop Knoll.
Yes,
with
it
Knoll
was.
being a little low on numbers. They might go check out Boone Grove and Wheeler.
I
over
wouldn't
at
think
Valpo
that. Yes,
High.
that'd be a
Might
good
go
one
See a
to
little of
go
that
for.
action.
Knox lost finally last week, first time, 6-1, and Rensselaer stays on top at 6-1 in the Little Five.
All right, the only poll that matters. In fact, when we went out to talk to Coach Kilmer, he didn't really care or didn't even know that they were number 1 in the state. He wanted to be number 1, of course, in the PFR Top 10. Here it is, the only poll that matters, the PFR Top 10.
Morton slides in at number 10.
Well
They're having a
deserved.
good season, yes, 5-2. You've got to give credit to the Bulldogs. Boy, nice victory, 4-3. Portage 4-3.
I'll give credit to Crown Point if they can win on the road.
Yes.
Seems like they're just a better team at home. They got a game they should win if they're for real on the road at Chesterton. Portage, you know, obviously difficult schedule. You look at the games they've lost to some outstanding teams.
Yes, they have.
Big home game against their dreaded rivals, the green and white.
Yes, the Valparaiso Vikings. No love lost there. New Prairie continues to roll. They beat Marion 42-0 last week.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Drain down at Lowell. Hobart's been on a roll.
Boy, they have.
Although, they looked like they might have been looking ahead for a couple weeks there last week in their game against Highland.
Yep, and Griffith has just been outstanding all season long, 6-1. Michigan City playing very, very well. Beat Portage 31-14 last week.
That was an outstanding performance last week. Really one of the top performances of the year by any team and dominating a pretty good team. Valpo at number 2.
Yep, threw a shutout last week
Heard
against.
their second string quarterback Crossing might be back tomorrow
Yes,
night.
yes, I think he might be back, and I don't know if he'll play both ways, but I know that I've heard that he might be back this next week. And number one team.
Number 1 team, no question about it.
No
Northwest
question.
Indiana, the only
7-0.
undefeated team, Wayne.
Wow, outstanding.
And how good is that? It's kind of lull night on PFR.
Yes, it is.
They were the folks. I've seen them in the streets last week. They were wondering where the mascot madness was. Of course, we had a week off, but it's back. And we even got one of our favorite athletic directors of all time
Oh, yes.
out of the mothballs to come back tonight and be on Mascot Madness.
The history of the Red Devil mascot is something that's kind of vague out there. There is some speculation that maybe there's some early World War I squadrons in 1917 that was very famous for its valor, its courage, its determination, and they were called the Red Devils. And they used somewhat what the earliest mascots were used here at Lowell High School. Well, there was somewhat of a variety. You had the side profile of a Red Devil, you had a full body profile of the mascot of the Red Devil that was used, more childish looking type of Red Devil that was used. Nothing was really too consistent. In 1979, when Al Holot came in as head football coach, one of his football team that had artistic abilities took that and created a profile of an L. And on that L, they placed the side profile of a Red Devil. It created some controversy in the community when one of the parents came to a board meeting and expressed concern about what we were really promoting. If you go back and look at the history of any mascot, mascots are formed because they address some kind of physical, emotional, or social beliefs. And therefore, when you begin to look at what the Red Devil really represented, what does it really mean? And if you go back, there's a charter of the Letterman's Club in 1932, and each letter of Red Devil in that original charter from the Letterman's Club represents responsibility, determination, loyalty, sportsmanship. So RDP became a chant that was used in the state football stadium. And on those football teams, one of our football coaches, they redesigned what became, as you see here, RDP, but it became Red Devil with the fork through it. That chant and that logo really united our community. And from that time forward, that's pretty much the logo that's used all the time.
That was awesome, and
was.
that did really unite that community. Lowell, of course, wasn't a football power,
Right,
for a long time.
for a long time.
And really, they've become a football power here in the last
Right.
15, 20 years or so. And RDP, of course, has been synonymous with them becoming such an outstanding football
That's right. And,
program.
congratulations to Don Bales. Boy, did he do a great job.
He was awesome.
Just awesome.
All right, time now for Throwback Thursday on PFR. One of the great rivalries in Northwest Indiana back tomorrow night. I can see Ben Kolazinski's blood boiling as he's watching these highlights. Is that Albert Evans? I think it is. Portage and Valpo. Portage opened with an 80-yard drive behind Albert Evans, and they scored the first 2 TDs of the game. Valpo came back, though, tying the game at 14.5. This is from October 27th, 2005. Portage opened the second half with a fumble, giving Valpo momentum into the second half, but Valpo scored early in the opening of the second half, but Portage did go on to score late and move on in the sectional with a win over the Vikes.
That was big, and Albert Evans was very, very
Was
good.
a stud, played for Purdue, no doubt about it. All right, now it is time to remind you, tomorrow night, live, 10:30, PFR Scoreboard, scores, highlights, everything right here on Lakeshore PBS. And Wayne and Tommy with Game Night, 89.1 FM, beginning at 6. Time for Tommy in our game of the night.
And before we talk about the Lowell game, I have to ask Coach Chris Skinner this question. Against Kankakee Valley, how great a coaching job was that with the quarterback throwing a pass to himself for a touchdown?
That's not how we drew it up. Got to credit one of our offensive linemen for tipping it up, and then Zach made a great play and just kind of going up, getting it, and then lowering his shoulder, but that's not how we drew it up.
How much of a resume kick would it be to beat Lowell on Friday?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're a great team. Whether it's a resume kick or not, I mean, obviously this is a big game for both teams. Potential conference championships on the line. So, we're taking that approach. The number one team in the state, and we're going to their place, and we know it's going to be a great atmosphere. It always is when we play down in the Inferno. That's something I love about playing down there. They're fans. I'm sure they'll be in the stands right when we get off the bus. So, yeah, that's what we're looking for. I don't know so much as a resume kicker other than just this is a big game for both teams.
What concerns you the most, because they have so many guys that can make plays on that team?
Yeah, they do. I mean, up and down the roster, they're good. We have a lot of respect for them as a program. You're not going to find many weaknesses on this team. I mean, they're good. I mean, obviously they had a good run last year in the playoffs, and I'm bringing the majority of those guys back. So top to bottom, they're good. Defensively, they fly around all over the place. It's fun to watch. Offensively, they're a little dynamic in that they can line up and play power football like most people think of Lowell football, but also they can spread it out and get the ball into Gill's hand and Jusovich's, and Wildman runs hard too. So there's just a variety of weapons on both sides of the ball. So they're a good team.
I pick up the paper on Saturday and I read, Andrian beats Lowell. How did it happen?
Well, like I said, offensively we need to have a nice mix. Thiele's going to have a big game for us. Because he's going to be playing offense and defense, so he's going to have to grind out some runs on offense. Zach's going to have to make some key plays in the passing game. So we're going to need a receiver or two to step up. Defensively, we got to play solid. Hopefully we can get some turnovers, flip the field, possession game, things like that. So this is the type of game where every little aspect matters, and so we're just going to prepare for all those little things.
Thanks for the time as always.
Of course, thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All righty, it's on now to the Inferno. And we have reached our destination, the home of the number one team in Class 4A, and more importantly, the number one team in Wayne Svetonov's poll, which is the only poll that really matters, of course. Keith Kilmer, one way or another, you're the top dog in 4A. How does it feel?
I mean, it's good. It means all your hard work's paid off, but it really doesn't matter. You got to go out and prove it on the field each and every week. And, the bullseye's on the back, and our kids know that, and we accept that role, but we know we got to go out and work.
When I tell you you're the only unbeaten team in Northwest Indiana, what does that mean to you?
You know what, again, it means our kids are working hard. It means we're doing some things right, but, it means nothing until, Friday night at 7 o'clock. At that time, it doesn't matter. We got to go out and play the game.
Andrian has put some big points on the board the last couple of weeks there. Your next opponent coming up on Friday.
Well, they're skilled. They're quick. We haven't seen a team as quick as us, I don't think, all year. And across the board, they got some team speed, and that's going to make it pretty exciting for the fans up in the stands.
That team speed led by a running back who's pretty darn good.
Yeah, I mean, he hits the hole hard, and, it's going to make things tough for us. But, I'll take our defense, and it's going to be a nice matchup.
Let's talk about your quarterback, because he is a guy that, unfortunately, because of some of the talent surrounding him, doesn't get enough credit, but he's having himself a pretty good year.
Yeah, no, it's pretty solid. And, and this year we don't have that one tailback where we're handing the ball off 35, 40 times a game. And we've talked to him, and, he's that tailback this year. And he's making those decisions. We've put a lot on him, a lot of read, zone read, a little option in there. We've given him a lot more responsibility than a Lowell quarterback is used to, and he's handled it well, and he's become our offensive playmaker.
Before we let you go, let's talk about when Andrian has, when you have the ball, what's your biggest concern about the Andrian defense?
They're just quick. I mean, team speed, they're going to neutralize some of our athletes. So we're going to be able to create some gaps, some seams up front. It's going to come down to the offensive lines because I think our athletes are going to neutralize themselves. So it's going to be controlling the ball, moving the chains when you can, and not turning it over.
Congratulations on the great season, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks. Thanks for coming out.
Hey, piece of cake, Coach. And, of course, the question goes, guys, it's Andrian and Lowell. Who do you got?
Tommy loves asking the question. We talked about it, but I think both coaches really feel like might be even with although I give Lowell a slight edge on the line of scrimmage, but they both do have enough skill, to give each other problems.
Yeah, they got skilled athletes. Certainly Whiteman in the backfield and Egress is the quarterback they were talking about, Ethan. And they got Justovich, and Gill. I mean, Gill just has unbelievable speed.
You don't know which Andrian offense you're going to get.
Right.
Right. I think you know which Lowell defense you're going to get.
Yes, you do.
They've been pretty consistently outstanding all year.
Yep.
And they can. Lowell's the kind of team that if they get a couple touchdowns, they can shorten the game.
Yes.
Just by trying to run the ball.
Yes.
That kind of thing. So.
Yes.
So as usual, you went with the favorite, Wayne.
Of course I did. Hey, it's at the Inferno, RPD.
Yeah.
But I think that this is going to be a close one. I think this is going to be a close one.
Yeah, it could be. Like, again, I just think the one thing that bothers me is I would like to see more consistency from that Andrian offense.
Right.
But, maybe they can start putting it together. Again, Andrian with the step down in the postseason now, when they head down to 3A, that's going to be big, for them.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll see, that they're still going to have to play some good football, even when they go back down to 3A, and see how they can do against some of the smaller schools. All right. There's Wayne's pick for that one. It's time now for the rest of those picks. Time now for Wayne's World. All right, the hat is on.
The hat is on. We are ready.
Means you're ready.
But look at this here. I'm still hovering at that 74% mark.
Yeah.
When somebody else last week was again for the second week in a row.
That's 4-0. 4-0, folks. So you can tell it's at the end of the season.
Wow.
Who's peaking at the right time, right?
And who's still above his average. So,
we're actually both above the break.
Yes, you are.
We are.
Yes, you are.
I'm, of course, higher above than you are, but, hey, it's just, I've talked about Crown Point. Can they get it done on the road? You like the Bulldogs.
I do. I like the Bulldogs. Chesterton's playing well the last couple of weeks, and it's at Chesterton.
Yes.
But I'm going to back Crown Point on this one. I think that if Ryan Bolduc can have a nice game, Crown Point can do some damage.
The check mark looked long and hard at this matchup and did not go for it.
Okay. Maryville over Lake Central. It is at Lake Central, and I think that Maryville has a little bit more athleticism here. And I like Michigan City over LaPorte. Now, this is at LaPorte, so I'm picking a 1-point game here.
Check mark looked long and hard at this
Another one, huh?
How could you pick against City coming off that best, that was probably the best performance they've had, in a long time.
But LaPorte's known for playing well at home.
This is a tremendous, we got two great rivalry games.
Yes.
Michigan City, LaPorte, they should have a huge crowd there tomorrow night, and Portage and Valpo, another tremendous big school rivalry.
All right, moving on then. We've got Portage and Valpo right here. And I like Valpo, even though it's at Portage. We'll see how Portage bounces back to a surprise defeat last week and see if they play well, but I'm still looking at Valpo.
All right.
I like KV over Highland. It's at KV. And I like Hobart over Munster.
Well, let's see if the Hobart offense is more productive this week than they were last week. Yeah. Can't be hanging your defense out to dry.
Right. I totally agree.
A couple games tonight, Wayne. We're moved to Thursday night.
Yes, both of these, Westside at Clark and Hammond at Gavitt, are now playing tonight. And we don't have any inside information yet. But,
No, we don't.
But they've moved, and I guess it's because they're having trouble finding referees. But I like Darn, I'm staying with Clark. I think Clark can get this one.
I like Clark tonight.
And Hammond over Gavin.
That one's it seems like Gavitt's one of those teams when I start to believe in them that they pull back. They teach me not to. They pull me back off the ledge.
I like Morton with their quarterback, Eric Johnson, playing very well over East Chicago. And moving on, I like Calumet's offense.
Yeah, I do too.
Snook and Hernandez, the wide receiver. I like that they're going to put some points on River Forest. This next game has been canceled.
Yes.
Nolan Whiting. And it's just,
with
numbers
issues, players
right,
wise.
Right.
You got Griffith big.
And I do have Griffith big over Lake Station.
Hanover to bounce back.
I do. I have Hanover to come back. We see that next graphic here.
South Central's their opponent for
Right.
Hanover.
And I really like Hanover to come back here. South Central is a good team, though. I mean, they've had some good wins, but I think
Another great rivalry game there, Wayne and Valpo High, Boone and Wheeler.
Yes. Can Boone Grove continue to put the wins on the board? This was a tough one for me to pick because it wasn't for you. You got Wheeler. I think that.
Well, this is just an even game.
Yes.
Just like the ones we were talking about last week.
Right.
Really, an even game, turnovers, penalties, could be the deciding factor. But you gotta like Wheeler's momentum.
Yes.
Coming
their
off
offense.
last week. That was kind of a surprise last week.
I totally agree.
How impressive they were and maybe getting better as the season goes on. First-year coach, remember? First-year coach. They were low in numbers. So, okay, I like, you like North Judson?
North Judson over LaVille and Knox come back on the,
We got one more.
Yep. You taking LaVille?
I got to go with LaVille. I love my Jays,
goodness
but the
gracious.
Jays have struggled to be consistency. LaVille hasn't struggled with consistency.
Right.
They've been pretty solid all season. I'm going with LaVille.
And then Newton over White and Roosevelt continuing their quest in victories.
I think North Newton and Whiting is the early game in the section.
Is it?
Yeah, that'll be a great one. All right, we will see you tomorrow night live, 10:30 on PFR Scoreboard on Lakeshore PBS. Good night.
Program support comes from NIPSCO.
Honey, who is this guy?
Oh, that's Frank. Hey, Frank.
Honey, why is Frank in our bedroom?
He's showing us ways to save money. Plus, he'll even help us install LED bulbs and new shower heads.
Oh, well, he is leaving before I shower, though, right?
To schedule an energy assessment and learn more about energy usage, visit NIPSCO.com.
Frank, could you hand me a towel?